Welcome everyone to the City of Joliet Council meeting for Tuesday, May 3rd, 6:30. Presiding, Mayor Robert Odekirk. After we have the invocation from Pastor Kurt Hoover from Messiah Lutheran Church, he'll lead us in the pledge.
I want to bring two things to your attention this morning as part of the devotion. One is Joliet Praise. I'm sure you've already heard of it. If you haven't already, I encourage you to look at that. There's a movement going on among churches in the community to create unity when there's a lot of division. And so encourage your participation in Joliet Praise. The other term I bring to your attention is inflation. And no, I don't mean the increasing cost of things that we need in our lives. And I trust that you guys will take care of that and what you can do here in the city of Joliet. But I'm talking about things that get inflated in our lives and become bigger than they really should be. And so I want to read you a quote from C.S. Lewis. He's the theologian from during World War II, 1948. He said, "This is the first action to be taken in an atomic age." The concern was the atomic bomb. "We're all going to be destroyed by anything. Let the bomb, when it comes, find us doing sensible and human things. Praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting to our friends over a pint and a game of darts, not huddled together like frightened sheep and thinking about bombs. They may break our bodies. A microbe can do that, but they need not dominate our minds." So C.S. Lewis in 1948 captured the two things that probably weigh most heavily on our minds. What if we're entering into another atomic age, or what is it that we do in the face of disease, microbes? What we would be doing at any other time. What we've been called to do. Governing, fellowship, praying, raising our children. I thank you for your leadership in doing that. Let us pray for God's blessing upon the work that's going to be done in tonight's meeting. Let us pray. Lord, we come before you, thankful for the many servants here that have dedicated their life and time and energy to providing for this city. Lord, we pray your blessing upon this city. We pray for unity amongst the churches and the people that are so involved in it. All this and more, Lord, we give to you in tonight's meeting, especially in our thoughts and our words and our deeds. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Now I invite you to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation and an update on historic preservation initiatives by Jane Bernhard, City Planner and Staff Liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Thanks, Krista. So good evening. My name's Jane Bernhard again. I'm one of the city planners here on staff and also the staff liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission. I'm here tonight because May is Historic Preservation Month, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to update you on the initiatives that the Historic Preservation Commission has been working on to promote our city's heritage and recognize our meaningful places. So I want to launch this presentation with a quick overview of the commission and its three main functions. So the Historic Preservation Commission is an advisory body to the city of Joliet. It's been in existence for quite a long time. It was established in 1990 with the adoption of the Historic Preservation Ordinance. And the commission has 12 members who are appointed by the mayor. Its first function is to make recommendations to council on to designate local historic landmarks and local historic districts. So on the screen here is what the commission hopes will be one of their newest landmarks at 804 West Marion Street. It is a high-style example of a craftsman-style home, and it's also a Sears Roebuck and Company catalog home, a mail order home. So we're really excited about that. That'll be coming to your council meeting in the near future, maybe next council meeting. The second major function of the commission is to review certificates of appropriateness. That's done to protect the integrity of what has been designated as a historic property. A certificate of appropriateness essentially is a pre-building permit, and it's reviewed to make sure that the work that's being proposed is appropriate. And related to the certificate of appropriateness process, one of the major projects that the commission's working on this year has been to oversee the creation of a design guidelines manual, which will offer clear, uniform guidance and prompt and predictable permitting to residents undertaking rehabilitation and construction projects. The manual will be advisory and not regulatory. This manual will also review building styles and architectural styles that are prevalent in the city of Joliet, and it will also feature the section that features our local historic districts and National Register historic districts, talking about the character defining elements of those special neighborhoods in the city. Again, one of the functions of the commission is to protect what's already been designated as a historic property. So I want to offer this example. If it was not for the preservation activists in the community and intervention by the commission, that this U.S. Steel main office building would have been lost. There had been holes in the roof that had allowed water to infiltrate to the back third of the building, which had caused interior damage. And so due to this intervention, U.S. Steel has since put a new roof on the building with gutters and downspouts and has committed to painting the building and as well as remediating interior damage. The third major function of the commission is to promote Joliet's heritage and history. So, and before I give an update on the commission's 4 major projects that they're working on, I want to point out that the city has been certified by the state of Illinois as a certified local government, and for that reason they are eligible for state and federal grants, we've been successful with that for the last couple of years. We are a certified local government because we have a qualified historic preservation commission, we have a certified ordinance, historic preservation ordinance, and a system for surveying and inventorying historic resources in the community. So the first big project the commission has been working on over the last, I think, 3 years now is the St. John's Neighborhood Historic Resource Survey, which is almost completed. This final report indicates that the structures and buildings in this neighborhood have significance for their association with the Illinois-Michigan Canal and early settlement of Joliet. It's Joliet's industrial history, particularly its limestone quarries, limestone and its associated architecture in this neighborhood and ethnic heritage. And among other things, findings from this project is going to lay the foundation for future National Register nominations, as well as assist in the future development of thematic tours in this neighborhood. Again, it's Historic Preservation Month, so the commission is co-sponsoring with the Joliet Area Historical Museum to offer this program specifically on the historic buildings and structures of the St. John's neighborhood. It's happening next week. It's free, and it's being held at the Joliet Area Historical Museum, and it starts at 6:30 p.m., so we hope that members of the community who are interested in this will come to that. Another major project that the city and the commission has been working on is the preparation of a National Register Historic District for the downtown. The primary purpose of a National Register Historic District designation for the downtown is to enable the use of federal and state historic tax credits for qualified rehabilitation projects. So the law firm building, or people call it Crabgale's building at 1 East Cass Street, is an example of a building that could benefit from federal and state historic tax credits, and the commission hopes to work with the future developer of this historic building to maximize its economic potential. And the second benefit of this particular project is that the information on these individual buildings and structures will be publicly available on a web-based platform, so someone will be able to walk around with their iPhone or tablet and be able to actually look at the old photos of these buildings and the current architectural and historic information. So that'll assist with heritage tourism in our downtown. Third project, the city, museum, and preservation-minded partners have been successful in their advocacy efforts for funding, stabilization funding for the old Joliet prison. The details of this will be forthcoming. They've also been successful in obtaining grant funds for tourism at this location. And then the commission is, in particular, overseeing the preparation of a National Register Historic District nomination for the Old Joliet Prison, and that is being funded by a National Park Service grant. And this nomination will expressly detail the prison's role in racial bias, equity, and criminal justice, and will result in more exhibit narratives and tours at this site. Future listing of the prison on the National Register will also support the city's economic development efforts by generating additional interest in this iconic site and then drawing more visitor spending into the surrounding neighborhoods. And then finally, future listing on the National Register of this prison will make the prison eligible for more grant funding opportunities, as well as enabling federal and state historic tax credits for qualified projects, which is needed for ongoing stabilization efforts. The final project the commission has been working on is the Union Depot Tower Railroad Museum, which is located inside the city's Gateway Center train station. The city saved the 1914 Union Depot Tower as part of the construction of the Gateway Center train station. The tower still houses the equipment that was used to control rail movement through this busy crossing of railroad lines, and the third floor tower offers unparalleled 360-degree views of current, freight, and passenger rail through this busy crossing. So the city received a state grant back in 2019 to fund the establishment of a museum in this tower on Joliet's railroad history, and we've been working in partnership with the Joliet Area Historical Museum to complete this project. We hope that this public space, this museum, will be open by July. That's the goal. And we're going to make sure that the council has an opportunity to view the facility before it's open. So in sum, the commission is committed to promoting the city's historic assets. These stars on this map are projects that I have just mentioned. And in conjunction with our preservation partners, such as the Joliet Area Historical Museum, the Forest Preserve District, Heritage Corridor Visitors Bureau, there is a heritage tourism framework in place. And adding to this framework is the city's own designated historic areas, such as the Upper Bluff National Register Historic District. We have our East Side National Register Historic District. And then the salmon-colored circles are our 130 designated historic properties in the city. So overall, the commission is working hard to leverage our historic assets and are working with our partners to create new avenues for tourism, economic development, and growth. And we believe that historic preservation is an economic development tool. The commission feels that the preservation of buildings, structures, and sites of historic and architectural significance is within the long-term interests of our neighborhoods and the city as a whole, and that our distinct, diverse, and historic buildings, structures, and neighborhoods play an important role in our overall efforts to maintain an interesting and vibrant city. So thank you again for allowing me to share the commission's enthusiasm for our meaningful historic places as we kick off Historic Preservation Month in the city. Woohoo! And I have with me our Vice Chair, Candace Johnson, and Commissioner Sharon Merwin, one of our longest serving members on the commission. She is here tonight. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of the projects that they're working on.
Not a question, but thank you for the update. It's good work.
All right,
Any
thanks.
questions?
Yes, Your Honor, if I might.
Sure.
Yes, Dane, thank you for that report. Could you tell me whether or not in the future, or how soon in the future, will the commission be looking at the property on Jackson Street, the carriage house? Are there any plans for that? Number two, has it been listed as a historical piece? And so what are your thoughts? If you can give me an update.
The carriage house, is that?
Cassidy House.
Cassidy,
Yes, that's the one.
okay. So the Cassidy House was designated by the city as a local historic landmark back in, I believe, October of 2020. It was, it was done at that point, and it was also part of the agreement that the city had with the Will County Historical Society. The Will County Historical Society and Museum is the entity tasked with overseeing the establishment of what they're intending to be the Will County Black History Museum at that location. Because the Cassidy House is now a designated historic property, there has been dialogue between the city's Historic Preservation Commission with the Will County Historical Society. Just like we did with U.S. Steel, we've been working with them to make sure that the building doesn't fall into further disrepair. But Other than that, Councilwoman, I don't have an update on that project. I'd be happy to put you in touch with the committee, the Will County Black History Committee members who are working on that.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for that, Jane, for that information that you did give. Now, is that particular property being recognized as historical? Does it fall in the category for the funding as well? From the state and federal funding?
It would be eligible for certain federal, or excuse me, state funds and federal funds. It would be more eligible if it was listed on the National Register, but because it is designated at the local level, it does open up opportunities that is not available just to any old house that's old. So there is some funds that would be available. I don't know of any off the top of my head, though.
Right, right. Okay, not a problem. Thank you so much for that update.
Okay,
Great work, Jane.
Thank you.
okay, thanks.
Next is a proclamation declaring May as Historic Preservation Month.
I like company. Okay, proclamation, whereas May is National Historic Preservation Month, which celebrates the places that are meaningful to us and to our communities. There are numerous historic buildings and structures in the city of Joliet. These include 3 National Register Historic Districts, a number of properties on the National Register of Historic Places, several local historic districts, and numerous local historic landmarks in addition to undesignated buildings and structures. Whereas the city's diverse and distinctive historic buildings, structures, and neighborhoods contribute to Joliet being an interesting, unique, and vibrant city. The city of Joliet, through its Historic Preservation Commission, celebrates Historic Preservation Month with special programs that promote the city's architectural heritage and history that recognize those who work toward preserving these meaningful places. Now, therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby recognize the contributions and dedication of the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission and its partners, and proclaim May as Historic Preservation Month in the City of Joliet. Signed, Mayor Robert Odekirk, May 3rd, 2022. Congratulations. How about that?
Hello, everyone. Candace Johnson. We would like to thank all of you. As you know, we try to work behind the scenes and work quietly, but once a year, we like to show off, no offense. So we hope to see all of you guys out on May 11th. It's a Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. in the basement auditorium of the Joliet Area Historical Museum. Free event. Learn a little bit about one of the oldest areas in the city. Learn why it's important and how it helped us grow into the city that we are today, because honestly, that is truly important in our city's history. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on.
I will just say, thank you, Candace. As Candace mentioned about the St. John's neighborhood survey, I think in the past years with support from the city staff, and just educational efforts, it's good to see other neighborhoods being recognized for their contributions to the heritage of Joliet. It's not just the big old Victorian mansions, but it's all kinds of neighborhoods and persons.
Nice job. Thanks, Sharon.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved. Second.
Been motioned, seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. Jim Rolfe. I'm here to represent the Joliet City Center Partnership to talk about some of the things that are on your agenda for this evening that have to do with downtown Joliet. But the presentation that we just heard kind of changed my remarks. I had all these cards written, and listening to the history that's been created in our city, we are on the verge of looking at some things that will create a future that future generations will be talking about the history that you have the opportunity to think about and create tonight with the passage of items 3522 and 3622, I believe they are, that have to do with the Chicago Street Corridor and the City Center Square, or the Town Square, if you will, both of which are incredibly important. When you think of the renaissance that's going on in downtown, you don't have a renaissance if you don't have history. We've heard about the history. We now have an opportunity to create a future that gives future generations history that's built on the many accomplishments of our city to date. And the idea of having the town square or city square and Chicago Street redeveloped will continue to facilitate economic development in downtown. I've suggested many times in this room that the city of Joliet, as the county seat of will, is the capital of our county. And we need to make sure that we continue to fulfill that level of reputation that I think we have as a city, we can continue to build on. And I think tonight, by supporting those two agenda items, I think you will demonstrate a continued investment in our community that will enhance economic development and continue to build a city that can be proud to say it is the capital of Will County. So with that, I thank you. I would just suggest, much has been done. There's been many concepts of the square and a plan for downtown, and collectively we have accomplished many things as a part of this effort. We still have more to do, and I would only urge you to continue the positive momentum we have going forward by supporting those two items. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. Tonight, the mayor is recommending the following reappointments to the Arts Commission: Quinn Adamowski, Aaron Blazer, Lori Carmine, Eric Deshawn Doris, Eric Gorder, Lauren Lass, Crystal Malone, Brett Markham, Megan Millen, Sue Regis, John Simpson Jr., Peg Stoiber, and Deborah Summers. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. The mayor is recommending the following appointments to the Arts Commission: David Wheeler, replacing Valerie Devine, and Giovanni Alvarado. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Mayor,
Yes.
I believe Giovanni Alvarado is here. He'd like to speak, say a few words.
Sure, come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I just wanted to take this time to just formally thank you for the opportunity, and I'm very truly humble and honored to serve in this position. I look forward to it, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In addition, tonight, the mayor is recommending Jason Heath be appointed to the Plan Commission, replacing Frederick Moore. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is council committee reports. Public Service Committee report.
Public Service met here at City Hall in the council chambers yesterday at 4:30. PM, May 2nd. We had a routine agenda. In attendance and on the committee was certainly Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. Both the Slammers Ballpark, or Stadium, as well as the Bicentennial Park, we reviewed bids. They're both going to get essentially a roof replacement. It's called an envelope, but a roof replacement. We went through some other contracts. There were several of them. Standard contracts for things like residuals, disposal, things of that nature. I mean, if you want me to expand on the residual disposal, I'm happy to do that for you, but I don't think that's necessary. So we looked at all the contracts, and we saw that, we did review professional services agreement for a facilities assessment study to CDM Smith in the amount of $129,800, and as the other items, it was unanimously approved for recommendation. I'm sorry, I read the wrong one. The professional services agreement for a comprehensive water and sewer, and for the alternative water supply. So we have more transparency. So I stand corrected. So we did table the one for a professional services agreement for facilities assessment study update to CDM Smith until we heard back from the 2017 20-year plan they had been hired to consult on, and so we asked that the department heads report the buildings under their jurisdiction and what has been done since 2017, so that we're not reinventing the wheel. So we looked at all the other contracts and vetted them, and they all seem to be in order and were bid properly and opened properly, and everything was copacetic. So they all received a unanimous committee approval for recommendation to this full council. And then we had one change order, a pay estimate. It was actually part of the 2020 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program with performance pipelining. It's just a contract extension. Long and the short of it, some of the things that need to be done under that contract are dependent on residents setting up times and appointments to get it done, and some residents haven't been able to do that yet, so we extended it 60 days, I think it was. Then under the ordinance and resolutions, as usual, the ordinance and resolutions are just housekeeping, appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the other items under contracts so that they can be paid if they're approved. And that's pretty much all we had on our agenda, unless I missed something, Terry or Betty?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, then, Mayor, that would be my report for public service.
Thank you.
Public Safety Committee report.
Public Safety met tonight in council chambers at 5:15. Present was Joe Clement and Councilman Hugg and myself as the committee members. Also, we had Jeff Price, the director of the fleet, Craig Blasky, the chief of fire department, and Chris Botsam, Sherry Reardon, both deputy chiefs, and Brent Frazier. What did I say? Sherry Reardon. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Sherry. Habit. Okay, so first one was purchase of a rescue boat, and the fire department will purchase one XL Pro 2003 model boat for a total amount of $46,972.44. It was not in the budget originally, but the parts are no longer available, kind of like our bridges. So they're going to replace this rescue boat, and they did take 3 bids. And the second thing was standardization of the fire turnout gear, and I'm going to let the chief explain that one.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The fire department currently outfits all of our members with firefighting turnout gear. The gear is provided and replaced by the city through normal wear, and if it's beyond repair or reaches its useful lifespan of 10 years, then it's replaced. In 2020, the fire department sought new vendors for turnout gear due to issues with a previous vendor, and we had issues of such as poor fit, wear, and longevity of that gear. A request for a proposal was issued, and the specifications were provided. 2 vendors submitted their bids. It was Initech and Globe. Initech failed to meet 20 of the specification requirements, and Globe was awarded the 3-year contract. The current agreement is going to expire on December 31st of 2022. And during that 3 years of this contract, Globe has provided over 90 sets of firefighting gear, and we've had no issues or concerns raised during that contract period. In an effort to standardize our equipment and provide turnout gear that personnel feel comfortable and confident while wearing, I'm requesting that Globe fire gear be considered as our standard. Along with that is due to the volatility of the market right now, and in speaking with Globe, no one will provide anything longer than a 1-year pricing, just because they don't know what's going to happen. So they were able to provide a price, so this would be asking to extend the contract by 1 year for 2023, which that'll allow me to plan for fiscal 23 for the budget.
Thank you, Chief. Next was 2 Ford Transit vans into which stands for prisoner transport vehicles for the price of $50,623.60. The council granted the authority for the purchase of 2 of these vehicles on January 18th of this year for the Police Operations Department. This is the continuation of this project, and this will be the final part needed for this whole project. Then the second thing for the police department was purchase of a chain link perimeter fencing and privacy slats for the Joliet West Side Substation. This is for security and safety reasons because they do transport prisoners in that place. If you've been out there, it's wide open, there's no security. So this will help with keeping people from writing down license plates number and a little more safety for not only the police, but the residents surrounding that facility. They took 3 sealed bids and it just over budget, probably because of pricing and everything going up these days. Then there's an ordinance amending the 2022 annual budget for the authorization to purchase radio batteries and replacement parts in the amount of $47,276.30. The last time these were replaced were in 2020, so they need to get this all back up to date. So they need a budget amendment on that. Then under new business, for not action, we were talking about the replacement of all portable radios in 2023 for the fire department, but it's also going to be coming up for the police department as well. Motorola has notified us that all the radios are at end of life starting in 2023, so they're no longer service or parts. So this will be addressed, we need 150 radios for the fire department at a cost of right now at $1.2 million. However, Councilman Hug came up with the thought, do you want to?
Yeah, actually, I
explain your
talked to
thought?
the city manager, Councilwoman, and he's confident he's gonna confirm it, right, Jim?
That's correct.
He's confident that all the purchases be considered, particularly since they would include a budget, they weren't budgeted for, a budget amendment, can be used, can be paid for by part of the 22 million in COVID funds that we're sitting on right now. And it's for the betterment of the whole
So
entire
that'll
city.
help offset the costs.
Yes, it will, especially for those radios, because the police are, as we learned, right, Councilwoman, are
Yes.
right behind them on that. So, Jim, thank you.
Right, yeah, yes, I believe that all the COVID funding can be spent on first responders.
And I don't mean to
Clearly falls
throw you a
within-
curve.
right.
You're gonna confirm it
Right,
tomorrow.
I
get
will
it.
make double sure, but that's my understanding right now.
Thank you.
So, but I will reconfirm that. So it's gotta be done either way, but it'd be good.
That would be good use of those dollars.
Absolutely.
Did I miss anything, anybody?
No, you did great.
That concludes our report, unless you have any questions. That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on April 18th, 2022, and the minutes of the council meeting held on April 19th, 2022 stand approved as recorded. Council Memo 227-22, regular payroll for February 11th through February 24th, 2022, $3,587,635.73. Council Memo 228-22, regular payroll for February 25th through March 10th, 2022, $3,477,923.93. It's recommended said regular payrolls be approved. Council Memo 229-22, award of contract for auditing services for a 5-year period. Council Memo 230-22, award of contract for the Well 30D Rehabilitation Project to Great Lakes Water Resources Group in the amount of $245,960. Council Memo 231-22, award of contract for the Well Rock 1 Rehabilitation Project to Water Well Solutions in the amount of $267,233. Council Memo 232-22, award of contract for the Well 16D Rehabilitation Project to Water Well Solutions in the amount of $248,205. Council Memo 233-22, award of contract for the East Side Wastewater Treatment Plant dewatering slab project to D Construction in the amount of $64,900. Council Memo 234-22, award of contract to Esri for licensing, renewal, and services. Council Memo 235-22, professional engineering services contract for Phase 2 engineering for the Chicago Street Streetscape Reconstruction Project to Civil Tech Engineering in an amount not to exceed $553,268. Council Memo 236-22, professional engineering services contract for the design of Joliet City Square to Civil Tech Engineering in an amount not to exceed $1,029,060. Council Memo 237-22, professional services agreement for independent review firm for the alternative water source program with Burns and McDonnell Engineering in the amount of $650,138. Council Memo 238-22, professional services agreement for a comprehensive water and sewer rate study update with Burns and McDonnell Engineering in the amount of $138,592. Council Memo 239-22, purchase 3 vehicle-mounted hydraulic valve turning machines for the Public Utilities Department from E.H. Walks in the amount of $66,780. Council Memo 240-22, authorization to enter into a sole source agreement with Blue Line Professional Consultants. Council Memo 241-22, Amendment Number 1 to the Professional Services Agreement for Phase 2 Engineering Services for the Olympic Boulevard Roadway Extension and Improvements to Patrick Engineering in an amount not to exceed $113,516. Council Memo 242-22, Amendment Number 1 to the Phase 3 Engineering Services for the Essington Road Bridge over Rock Run Creek Improvement Project to Hutchison Engineering in the amount of -$45,570.37, and payment request number 20 and final in the amount of $2,870.18. Council Memo 243-22, Amendment Number 2 to the Phase 3 Engineering Services for the Caton Farm Road Bridge over Dupage River Improvement Project to Willett Hoffman and Associates in the amount of -$11,774.22. Council Memo 244-22, Amendment Number 2 to the Phase 3 Engineering Services for the Washington Street Bridge over Spring Creek Improvement Project to Willett Hoffman and Associates in the amount of -$14,254.51. Council Memo 245-22, Change Order Number 1 for the construction of the Caton Farm Road Bridge over the Dupage River Improvement Project to IDOT in the amount of -$17,923.88, and payment request number 5 and final in the amount of $83,249.77. And Council Memo 246-22, Change Order Number 1 for the construction of the Washington Street Bridge over Spring Creek Improvement Project to IDOT in the amount of -$42,198.29, and payment request number 4 and final in the amount of $87,418.38. It's recommended Council Memos 229-22 through 246-22 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on, under ordinances, Council Memo 247-22, ordinances associated with Joliet Logistics Park subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the reapproval of the preliminary plat for Joliet Logistics Park subdivision, an ordinance approving the final plat of Joliet Logistics Park subdivision Phase 2, an ordinance approving the recording plat of Joliet Logistics Park subdivision Phase 2, and a resolution approving the execution of a development agreement with Route 53 Land LLC. A revised development agreement was placed on the dais this evening. It's been recommended said ordinances and resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
And I want to, Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to thank Chris Regis. This was a unique situation. It was somebody who had started prior to the Great Collapse, and then, of course, came back some years later to reinvigorate their development after we had made an unofficial commitment to doing whatever we can to keep things and try to connect things into that closed loop when it ultimately comes around. And Chris did a great job in negotiating this contract. It's very good. Or agreement, not contract, I'm sorry, agreement.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 247-22, ordinances associated with Joliet Logistics Park subdivision. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
No.
Councilman Guerrero.
No.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Next, under resolutions, Council Memo 248-22, a resolution appropriating Rebuild Illinois bond funds for the Phase 2 professional engineering services contract for the Chicago Streetscape Reconstruction Project in the amount of $397,988. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 249-22, a resolution approving Amendment Number 1 to the agreement between the City of Joliet and the Forest Preserve District of Will County for services related to the Hollywood Road, Humboldt Road interchange modifications and roadway reconstruction project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Again, bear with me, I want to mention this again for the folks that are turning in tonight in Kendall County, specifically, that the National Center for Health Statistics, as part of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, is going to do a health survey, and it's going to take place from June 3rd through August 17th, and there'll be approximately 591 people from Kendall County will be asked to participate in the survey. So they're going to be calling on people throughout the neighborhood and throughout the county. So if you're asked to do this, this isn't, again, I just want to put you at ease about this, that this is a federally funded program. And so if we'd appreciate the federal government would appreciate your cooperation. This goes into the national database and helps determine national health policies for the United States. So it's an important thing to be a participant of. So I'd like to thank those folks out there in Kendall County who are citizens of Joliet for their anything that they can do to support this would be great. So, and with that concludes my remarks.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
Joe.
Mayor, or Jim, the president of Caton called me today, and I'm sure he called others. I just wanted to bring it up. He was wanting to remind us about the comprehensive plan and just seeing where we were at with that. I'm sure others probably would have brought it up, but I forgot to do that.
Right. I've been working with Eva Marie in the planning department here, and what happened was the initial contract that we had with the people we had contracted with to do the comprehensive plan have said that they no longer do that type of work, and they closed the field office here. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to put that back out to bid, and we're waiting for a formal notice from them. And this all just happens serendipitously, just in the past day or two. So we're trying to get a notice from them saying that they're not gonna that they're asking to get out of the contract with the city so that we can go in a different direction here. But it's on the front burner, but we just had suffered that setback. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I can answer that too. There was a committee that was put together by myself. It was like about February of 2020, right before COVID hit. So that has to be revised. I'm actually working on it. There's a handful of people that have to be taken off or replaced. So I plan on bringing that forward at the next meeting for the council to approve. Betty?
Do I have anything, sir?
Caesar?
Nothing.
Larry?
Nothing.
Terry? Pat?
I just want to thank Jim. Andrew Chalmers called me also asking for the cathedral area group that are very concerned at where we may at, but now that they have the report on its way. Thank you.
Yeah, we're working on it, so.
Jan?
Nothing new in the
Sherry?
business department.
I do have something, this is gonna be, May 15th, Sunday, May 15th from 1 to 3 at the Historical Museum. There is, I believe, a movie, I Remember the Boston Store. It's free admission. It's gonna be at the museum. Inside in their indoor auditorium, 1 to 3 on May 15th. We'll also put this up on the city website, but this is good. We were talking about the history of Joliet earlier. This is another example of it, so, just wanted to put that out there.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments?
Hello, Megan Cooper, Joliet. I'm here today to speak once again about the LSEO project at 400 Manhattan Road, right by Richard Street. There was a stop work order that was issued on April 15th. And in the stop work order that was submitted by the city of Joliet to the LSEOs, is 3 things that's noted. One is grading and site development activity without permit. 2 is possible debris running off-site into Sugar Creek. 3 is material and equipment storage on unapproved materials. So despite this stop work order, this was still allowed to be heard at zoning in the Plan Commission on April 21st. And no one ever mentioned that a stop work order was actually submitted to them. And since then, on April 15th, the neighbors report that another large piece of equipment, a cutter, was brought in with old machinery and cut up on the property. And they report seeing oil flying everywhere. And still, as of today, you can go by there and that large cutter is still sitting there, also with the debris that's left on the ground that's oil covered. And what have we had? Rain. So the thing is that what's actually leaking into that ground, what's going into Sugar Creek? You know, the city is concerned about water, but does that just pertain to the city in itself? What about the creek and the residents that's around there that's also on well water? So with that being said, this is still slated to come to council on the 16th and 17th of next month. Well, this month, I'm sorry. And the thing is that they're underneath the stop work order. No one has said anything. And they're doing business as usual. They are bringing in more equipment. They haven't stopped bringing it in. There's actually more trucks parked over there on one of the R2 sides since this stop work order was actually submitted. We just want to know really who's running the show here. Is it the LSEOs or the city of Joliet? Because they haven't stopped work. They're actually bringing in more equipment. So another thing is that talking about the marijuana cultivation facility, has anybody actually looked up to see how much water it actually takes to grow a marijuana plant? It takes an extremely large amount of water to actually grow a marijuana plant. And that's just kind of funny because, you know, the city is actually asking for water conservation pledges from its citizens and talking about the state of their water supply now. But yet we're still considering a marijuana cultivation facility that's going to require extremely large amount of water. So we just, as residents of that area and the residents that live in Sugar Creek, although they are not City of Joliet, they still deserve a certain quality of life, and that includes their groundwater as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and members of this board. I'm here on behalf of my father, who owns 513 East Jackson Street. Recently, he was in a car accident on that intersection. That accident happened on March 8th. And before that accident where there was a speeding driver and the other driver was uninsured, there was an accident that happened on August 10th, 2021, where there was another uninsured driver and they smashed into our building. And as of right now, we haven't been able to get compensated for those accidents. But part of the reason I'm bringing these accidents up is since I've been raised in that home at a very young age, there's always been very serious car accidents. And some of them that I remember were, a cop got hit and he came out with his gun. And, I have memories of the intersection here on 513 East Jackson where it meets Jackson and Youngs. So my dad wanted me to come here today and ask that the City of Joliet consider putting a signal there. It's been long overdue, and hopefully someone here is willing to consider putting a signal there. The State of Illinois Transportation Agency reached out to us. They're doing some repairs in the area. They said they're ultimately responsible for that, so they're doing a study. They're aware of my comments, and I'm hoping they're able to coordinate with their agency and make that happen for us, for the residents of Joliet. The sidewalk in front of our 513 property is also seriously damaged. I have a picture if anybody wants to see it. Disabled elderly people, it's just not friendly to them. If you can consider that something to look into. The accident that recently happened was my father. He was driving my vehicle. Unfortunately, we didn't plan for this. It was literally an accident that was unexpected. And the vehicle was registered under my name and my mother's. My dad didn't have it under his name, and my mother and I were both out of the country on vacation. And that vehicle got towed by a company that has a contract with the City of Joliet. I reached out to that company as soon as possible, which was recently, and I have stacked up a bill with them because it wasn't addressed previously, and I just didn't know what the seriousness of the situation was, and I just learned about it. So I'm trying to do what's right by getting my vehicle. It's our property, but they have denied us access to grab our property. They have denied us access. I just went through recently with a mechanic that is literally right in front of the 513 East Jackson property. And I went with my mechanic there, and they refused us access to see our vehicle so they can see the estimate of the axle and, if it was gonna be worth my money. So because I didn't get access to it, and at that time, the person that was a manager, I would say he was respectful to me because I showed him my military ID, and, he did show me respect for that, I would say. But over the phone, people of my family tried calling, and they were very aggressive, very rude, and I'm assuming it's because they deal with a lot of bad people. But they were not friendly from our perspective, speaking from our perspective. So I'm asking, whenever their contract is up for review, you guys reconsider their contract. And, at this moment, all I have in terms of the car is signing over my title. The manager said that I only had two options because he can't discriminate everybody else in my favor. And he said I could either pay up and look at it after I pay, or, sign over my title and pay the towing fee. So right now, the only option I do have is signing over my title, which I haven't done yet, but I'm gonna do because I have no other options, and pay the towing fee. So with your help, anyone here, help is not expected, but if it does come my way, it's much appreciated on behalf of my family. And I believe that's all I came here to say. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.
Could you talk with the city manager after the meeting about this specific company?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I would just add, I'm very familiar with that intersection of Jackson and Youngs. I live out in the area, go through that intersection pretty often, and it is when crossing that intersection of Jackson, the cross traffic does not stop at all, and so I think that would be a good idea to see if we can do something about that. At least possibly add in a stop sign or possibly add a light. So.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else that
I
would?
too agree, Cesar, with that. I know I'm very familiar with that intersection. And so we have a great deal of problems there. So we'll work together to see if we can find a resolution.
Well, it's a state highway, so he was correct for talking to IDOT. That's ultimately who'd have to do the study.
Absolutely he was. Absolutely he was.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Joe?
I want to thank Greg Ruddy. You got on the Demond Street issue of flooding over there, and the roadway there is cracking, so I appreciate it. So thank you.
Eddie?
I have nothing.
Caesar?
I just wanted to say that today marks a one-year anniversary of having taken the oath to represent the city of Joliet. So I want to say just thank you to everybody who was supportive along the way, everybody who came out to vote for me 1 year ago, to my colleagues here on the council, mayor, city manager, all of our city staff, everyone who's been able to give me a piece of advice along the journey. It's been quite the learning curve, quite the experience. Certainly comes with its challenges. But again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supportive along the way. Everybody who perhaps didn't support me during the race, I'd say thank you to you as well, simply for being a part of the city. We all live here, we're all residents, and it's a very important lesson that I've learned that we all make up the composition and the identity of Joliet. And we all want the same thing ultimately, which is to see the city thrive and prosper. We might have different ideas about what that is and different ideas of how to get there. We're certainly going to disagree at times, but I hope that we can focus on those moments in which we do agree and continue to advance our city forward. So just one more time to everyone, thank you.
Well said.
Oh, go ahead. Somebody started that. Congratulations, Councilman, on your first year. You had the torturous duty of sitting next to me for a year, and you never ran out of here screaming yet. And I will tell you.
Not yet. We still got 3
years. We have 3 more years to see what happens. No, I will tell you, you should be proud. You've adapted. You're doing well. I mean, it's tough for everybody. First time they get up here, and you've been doing well. You've been doing well. Outside of that, we're coming up on graduation season. So, of course, colleges graduate for the most part earlier by several weeks than the high schools do, but we'll tie them all together. I want to congratulate all the area 8th graders and high schoolers and college folks, kids that are graduating. Congratulations and good luck on your journey. And that's with the Joliet High Schools, Plainfield South, Plainfield Central. So, so we have some students in Minooka, some at Lincoln Way West that actually live in Joliet. Congratulations to all of them. My daughter is graduating Saturday from the University of St. Francis for nursing and has already been offered a job at Christ Hospital. So congratulations, Lauren, as well. Thank you.
Terry?
Yeah, I'd just like to take this time, Mayor, to wish my mother and my wife a happy Mother's Day and all the mothers here and all over the city of Joliet. Just have a happy Mother's Day and a good weekend.
Same. Mothers of the world, happy day, come Sunday.
Jim?
I attended the Ramadan Iftar dinner. We all got an invitation. The place was open to the community, and that is the Muslim mosque, also known as the Community Center out on Brock Road. They gave a history of Holy Month and Ramadan and why they fast, and pointed out the differences in the religions, but really it's all one. We all believe in God. And there was a brief program followed by a community dinner, and that was done at sunset when the Muslims break their fast. So it was very well attended, very eclectic group, and I learned quite a bit that night. It was very nice. And then that Friday, I went to the tree planting at Thomas Jefferson School with all the little ones, and they were so darn cute. It just warmed my heart to see our generation coming up from below, because they are just so darn cute and so excited about Arbor Day and tree planting. And they were especially excited because the vice principal dressed up as a tree. How about it, Mayor?
It's quite an outfit.
And I as well want to wish all, not only the mothers, happy Mother's Day, but all the aunts and other significant others that act as moms to children. Happy Mother's Day, well deserved.
Sherry?
I'd just like to reiterate that there's going to be a great party Thursday for Cinco de Mayo at the Joliet Area Historical Museum. if you can go, check it out. It's supposed to be a great time. You can go to their website, Joliet Area Historical Museum. That's it.
Thank you. Number of things. April 22nd, there was a ribbon cutting at Ohio Banquets, 24 Ohio Street. Really impressive room. Councilwoman Coolman was also there. Very impressed with the work they had done, and congratulations to them and good luck. April 23rd, Warren Sharp had their public garden grand opening. Chief Evans, you were down there Saturday morning with me and a number of other volunteers. But thank you to people at Warren Sharp. On the 28th, the Joliet Chamber had their business after hours and a ribbon cutting at the new Family Innovation Research Center at Joliet Catholic High School. That same day, the Joliet Historical Museum had the opening of their new Blues Brothers exhibit. It sounds like there may be some exciting news coming with that from the museum, but it was a real nice exhibit. Congratulations to the museum, and I encourage people to go down there and check it out. And again, April 29th, the Arbor Day tree planting at Thomas Jefferson. I was there with Councilwoman Coleman. Thank you to all the staff at Thomas Jefferson for making the children available. And then again, finally, happy Mother's Day to my wife, Rebecca, to my mother, Mary, and to my mother-in-law, Ruth, as well as to Councilwoman Reardon and Gavin, and the mothers we have on staff and throughout Joliet. So we have, I think we have our executive session tonight, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, Betty, did I skip over you?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Total Info Dailies.